When did you become the very thing you swore to destroy? Drank a shit ton of milk when I was a kid because I believed lactose intolerant people were wimps. Lo and behold, I'll shit my pants if I have a glass of milk nowadays. There is lactose free milk, yo. That's all that we buy in this house. 3 kids, wife and me, all lactose intolerant. I've tried that, and all of the lactose free ones I've found have a very off-putting flavor to them. When I vacuumed up a Lego and was like when I got put in charge of people at work, I said I was gonna be a cool boss. And then I realized that there's a lot more to it, and these idiots are fucking up, and I have to answer for it. This hits home. Working from the bottom, you make good friends and you all swear you won't be that dickhead who is the boss. Then you get promoted and become that dickhead. The way I see it is to take the knowledge you got from your boss and don't do the dumb stuff you hated, but all in all you just gotta be the boss. Not a Mitchell Scott. I'll paste this here, replied to another comment, but figured you might want to rethink seeing yourself as the dickhead. Being a cool boss isn't reasonable. You do have to be the one to hold people's feet to the fire. But you can be the fair, honest boss who actually gives a fuck about the people who work for you. I had 120 people working underneath me, and typically people saw me as a hard guy to work for, in that I always had high expectations. But they also knew that I did not micromanage them, and that I knew each and every one of them personally and was able to better develop them as a result. As each of them move up over time in various other positions and places, I get emails, phone calls, and messages thanking me for helping them see what right looks like. I myself merely modeled my behavior after those who were my supervisors, and I believe I was able to influence them to be actually effective leaders as a result. That's ultimately the legacy I live for. Anyways, whatever the work is, doesn't matter, because no matter how much money you make, life is ultimately about the legacy you are able to leave improving the lives of others. Not about hitting the #1 spot on some report card. If you take care of the people underneath you, you'll hit that #1 spot as a side effect. Be that kind of boss. As someone getting promoted into my first management position soon. Thank you for this comment. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what kind of boss I'm going to be, and this was helpful. I make video games and 95% of my career have been on consoles. Had to help out a team at work a few years back with a mobile game, and they made me add in the bit where the pop-up comes up asking you to rate the game. I died a lot inside then. Much better than those dickheads adding ads with no close signs. I hope they get an ad too. Or when they know when you're going to be touching TH screen in a specific area and throw an ad right in there. Just in that perfect time where your brain has made the decision to move your finger and before your finger has hit the screen. That is a very specific hate that I can get behind. Yes, let the hate flow through you. I bought Crocs and a weed whacker on the same day. And me now. Anyone can be a father, but it takes Crocs and a weed whacker to become a dad. I used to be anti-smartphone. Now if it's not by my side I go crazy. You sound exactly like my mom. In one breath she'll say look at everyone glued up their phones. And then in one swift move pull her phone out. I love my mom. But man it's annoying. In one breath she'll say look at everyone glued up their phones. And then in one swift move pull her phone out. It feels so crazy to me. Since when I was a kid, I wasn't even allowed to watch TV while eating. But now my parents can't even get through their favorite TV shows without using their phones. It's like the rest of the world developed ad when I grew out of it. Won the 8th grade poetry slam by writing a poem about my anger towards my grandfather for drinking and smoking himself to death. By my 22nd birthday I was putting down 2 packs of cigarettes and a pint every day. Now I'm 3 months sober and clean from cigs though. Congratulations on the milestone. Good luck keeping it up. The luck may or may not have much to do with it. 2 years ago, I put down new grass in the small part of the front yard that I own. I sat down, picked up a book and read a bit in the garden. When I looked up, my nephew from next door was rolling across my freshly laid down patch of grass. I told him to get off my lawn. I was 26. Age happens faster than you think. I'm a new house owner. I've just recently been finding poop in my yard from a dog I don't own. It's really pissing me off. I'll start this by saying I'm a dog owner. I own 2 medium-large mixed breeds and clean up after them myself without issue. Our old neighbor refused to fix their fence and their dog preferred to come to our yard and do his business. I don't blame the dog. He didn't know any better because of his shit owners. My best friend and I were out planting flowers she had brought from her garden and her 8-month-old son almost rolled in poo. That was it. I proceeded to grab a shovel and start flinging it over the fence at their house, screaming obscenities at them. Not my proudest moment. And no, they did not learn their lesson. But damn, it felt good to get that out of my system and yard. I did something similar once. Dropped every log of it on their doormat and told the doorbell camera, you know why I'm doing this, and I'll do it again. Apostrophe. I did threaten to do this to another neighbor. Thankfully I didn't have to go through with the threats on that, but I was fully prepared. Another fun one. I was making dinner and heard my husband yelling out of the dining room window. I asked what was going on, and he told me some lady was letting her dog shit in the yard and wasn't cleaning it up. I don't think she expected a crazy lady to go flying out of the front door, spatula in hand, to loudly confront her. I've never seen her or her dog on our street again. I'm not even 30, yet when somebody doesn't clean up after their dog, it turns me into that cranky senior citizen yelling, "Get off my lawn." A few years ago I would say yo ironically to make fun of people who said yo. Now I start almost every conversation with yo dude. How long will it take people to learn this unbreakable law of the universe? Irony will always develop into sincerity. Given enough time. Given enough time, irony usually develops into rusty. I appreciate her existence. Would you say you have strong feelings about them? In the late 80s, early 90s, I was a typical skater slash punk slash metalhead teen. I swore up and down I would never settle down. I didn't want some 9-to-5 life with the house and family. I'm happily married, have a great career, and love every second of it. There are times when I sort of wonder what my life would have been if I just kept doing what I was doing, but I'm pretty sure I would be miserable. Screwing around and partying is fun when you are 17 to 23, but in my 40s, fuck that. I'm tired. I partied a lot my freshman year. Now, 10 years later, I can have a couple of beers and have a good time. But any more than that, and I'll be paying for it for days. I partied non-stop from 19 to 21. At 35 I have half a can of White Claw and want to nap on the couch. So old. So boring. Drinking White Claw is like drinking TV static while someone yells the name of a fruit from the next room. I accept this. I always said I hated people who were just content in their jobs and didn't want to rise up. I love the work I do, and I want to get to the highest skill set of it, but frankly I'm not sure if I'm interested in a real promotion at this point in my life. Edit. I see a lot of questions asking why I would hate people for being happy. Younger me was selfish and didn't understand happiness in a job, only money. In my previous career I practically killed myself to get and work at management level. Burned out at 25, even though I was passionate about the work. Now I'm in a new field and truly enjoy all of the work I do. And I get it. Putting in time doing something you enjoy and being appreciated for it means everything. That's how I've always been, cause what's the point in working yourself to death? That would be wasting my life and my time with my friends slash family. There's so much I have left to do in this lifetime. A job just allows me to do those things. Edit. For those of you telling me climbing ranks equals more money, less work to do, I know, haha. I'm just in one of those fields where you want to stay close to the work. Therapy. I always wanted to rise to the top and be the person who gets to call the shots. While going to business school and working as an intern, I remember seeing the way things were being done at my place of work and thinking, someday I will be the one in charge and I will do things different. However, I'm now a lower level manager and really don't have any desire to move up. How many hours I see these guys working? No thanks. I have a family now, and I love them to death. More money would always be nice, but not at the expense of never seeing my family. During the week I already only see my very young kids for a couple hours in the evenings. I don't want them to grow up thinking I was never around. I don't think I've ever worked a job where I've really wanted my boss's job. The more you move up, the more you gotta deal with trivial and legit complaints and detail those in emails. You gotta be the bad guy a lot. Right now I feel like a combo complaint sponge and hall monitor. Now I know why people in their 40s and 50s look so pussy. When I picked up smoking at the age of 17. Same here. But I took it up at 16. Best friend and I always swore we wouldn't, and we were constantly bugging her dad and my mum to quit. Both of us ended up as smokers and eventually both our parents quit. Please, for the sake of your future family, work hard to quit. My father died a year and a half ago from terminal lung cancer caused by smoking. He died a horrific, painful death in my arms that has haunted me ever since. He had quit smoking too late, insisting I'll go to the doctor when I quit smoking, just in time to be diagnosed terminal, and was dead a month later. The day I told my daughter she can't have ice cream for breakfast. Similarly, the first time I answered the 5 millionth question why with because I said so. It just came out uncontrollably. I didn't know how to stop it. Edit. For the curious and or judgmental, kiddo was 5 and was stalling on purpose so we wouldn't leave on time for school. They were asking why they had to put on shoes, followed by the "but why" game, sassy edition, without wanting the actual answers or reasons. We all know the game. Fastest I got my nephew to ever shut up was with a "why what?", essentially requiring him to formulate a coherent question based on the answer I'd just given him. Seemed to break the little fucker. I reply with, "Why do you think?" It encourages conversation and creativity when the child is truly curious, and it shuts down the child who is just whining for fun. I tend to try to engage the kid, and asking the kid to rephrase the why question to include parts of the answer quickly filters out genuine curiosity from just asking for attention. I tried to quit smoking using Chantix in 2008/2009. It didn't work because the nightmares were so graphic and scary. I had 2 before I stopped taking it. I don't remember the first one, but the second one. I killed a guy by removing his limbs very slowly. It really grossed me out. Didn't realize I was capable of that sort of barbarity even in some unlocked portion of my mind. Now I do autopsies for a living. It's weird that element of my absolute worst nightmare is part of my day-to-day. Had a cop ask me to remove a guy's hands a couple weeks ago, and it's literally not even crossed my mind a second time until just now. That's when I realized my passion for dismembering bodies. Apostrophe. And that realization made me take up smoking again. Apostrophe. When I realized I have a lot of the same toxic/abusive patterns as my father. Yep, same here. When I first met my now husband, I had this realization moment when we were discussing something and I made him cry. I immediately had this understanding that I had just done what my own father had always done to my mother growing up. It was an epiphany moment where I was like, the whole time growing up I swore I would never be like that, and here I'm doing the same thing he did. It took a lot of work and help from my husband, but it took a while to essentially deprogram myself. We have a happy and healthy relationship now, and I'm thankful every day that he stayed and helped me become a better person. That's amazing. Congratulations on that and all the hard work you went through. Your husband sounds like a great guy as well. Unfortunately, it took my relationship of 3 years ending for me to finally open my eyes. I absolutely traumatized my ex, and I'm so ashamed for it. I'm starting my deprogramming process at all, but I'm so scared of failing and hurting someone else that I love. I'm sorry you lost that relationship. When you have a realization, that's the first step, so good on you for that. After that, it just takes a lot of effort in recognizing when you see the behavior and immediately stopping it. I had a long talk with my husband, before he was my husband, about when he sees the behavior and him not stopping to call me out on it. This was the biggest help, especially when it's a situation where I was very emotional or heated because my judgment would become clouded. He really helped me a lot, and I think it's because he also had parents similar to mine. He easily recognized when I was doing those things. But in the end, it's up to you to change those behaviors, and you can definitely do it. It just takes time and effort. Good luck, my friend. And while for me, I wasn't able to get counseling, if it's available to you, I would highly recommend it. Thanks for your sympathy and kind words as well. I'm currently in therapy after wanting to be in it since middle school. Took a few tries, but I love my current therapist and he's so helpful and amazing. Comedy answer. Reddit account serious answer. My company's director forced me to accept a promotion to management. I can seriously relate to the comedy answer. And I can relate to the serious one. I don't want a job where I have to deal with assholes like me. I can relate to both. Dealing with assholes in both scenarios. I always said I'd never be a pet person. But we are fostering a cat while its owner is in hospital, and now it's 1 AM and I'm on the sofa with Buddy cuddling up to me, and yeah, it's kinda cool. When you have something cuddling against you, it just releases something in your brain that's just like, I really like this. Oxytocin. Cuddling an entire litter of puppies. Best feeling ever. Or another human. Sigh, really missing that. Early 20s. I never wanted to become an alcoholic. I'm now 31 and I will have a year alcohol free this week. Also trying to quit smoking. That's amazing. Good luck, you got this. 3. Thank you. I used to hate grumpy old guys. Now, I don't even have kids and I've found my mother coming out of my mouth to my nieces and nephews. It's appalling. I feel like Nick from New Girl. I'm looking forward to getting old. I'm just growing into my personality. Oh, when I was looking for a new place, I seriously considered looking in senior living, even though I'm in my 40s. I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I'm an introvert who bakes, cross stitches and watches TV with her cat. So basically I'm 80, lol, you're me. Except I'm in my 20s and I drink wine. But I crochet with my cat while I watch Netflix. My mother had been, and still is, violently abusive. I'm now extremely quick to anger and get really loud and aggressive about it. I'm in therapy still trying to break the cycle. Edit. I'm overwhelmed. You are all giving me more kindness than I've ever really known. Thank you so much, everyone. That's great to hear. I hope you do. You got this. Just like most other people, I thought I'd always be super laid back, always up for anything, and super energetic for hours off 2 to 4 hours of sleep. When I was a senior in high school, I worked a bunch of overtime on top of school and still went out with my friends. Now I work less hours, rarely have the energy to see my friends, and most of the time I feel like a grumpy old introvert. It's really nice to hear that this happens to so many people. I've been having a bit of an existential crisis lately because I would rather stay home and read/bake bread/watch Netflix than go to a, obviously at this point socially distant, gathering. I recently invited some friends on a hike and it ended up just being me and my roommate, and I was happy, lol. I was telling myself it's just because it's corona, but I know I'll still feel this way when it's over. Getting fucked up just doesn't sound as good as getting a full night's rest and going for a run in the morning, lmao. My parents are African and they always made the food so fucking spicy when I was a kid. Now, I'm like, this meal needs more cayenne and scotch bonnets. Brutane. I'm like a HWHITE white dude. Was never big on spice. Started dating my Asian girlfriend about 5 years ago and now I will legit eat anything that looks like it's going to burn my face off. How long did it take you to get to that point? Asking for a friend. Honestly, one trip to any South Asian country and staying there for a couple of weeks will set you on your path to eating fire. My dad liked to do awful impressions of Disney characters that he spent way too much time teaching himself. He told me that as a kid, he was often lonely and did this as a way to make himself laugh. I yelled at him when he did it, a decade after his death. I realized that I'm constantly doing awful impressions of characters from games and cartoons I liked as a kid. You should hear my impression of Strong Bad. No, you really shouldn't. Your dad's ghost is watching you and thinking, hell yeah. If you are new to TattleTale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.